In Portland, homicides are up 533%. In Minneapolis, they're up 50%, 35% in Philadelphia, 24% in Los Angeles. What group is this surge in crime taking a toll on? Well, America's youth. Look at these numbers. There have been more than 200 Chicago youths shot this year alone, 26 fatally. In Philadelphia, more than 120 shot, 21 of them dead. In New York City, 82 shootings, 22 of them killed. So where's the outrage? Where's the leadership on what to do about this? Here with reaction is Kevin McGary, president of Every Black Life Matters. Kevin, great to have you on.
It's a pleasure to be here, Buck. Thank you for having me.
What do you think about when you hear Joe Biden at a town hall presented to the whole country? This is the president. He's supposed to be speaking the truth. Good old Joe, Amtrak Joe, telling it like it is. And he says, well, crime's way down.
Well, I think that he's a great prevaricator. Quite honestly, I think that the people who wrote his card, because, quite honestly, if we're going to be sincere with ourselves and not, kid ourselves, Joe is not really there. I mean, he's reading off his cards. And I think the people who are writing his cards are kidding themselves and are trying to kid us. The reality is crime is not way down, and especially in our highly populated or highly urbanized areas. We are under attack. We have a huge amount of crimes being precipitated in our urban areas. The fact is that there was a big movement last summer to defund the police. We had Biden and Harris, before they were installed, they were on the stump saying that they were going to defund the police. We also had a number of other progressives and leftists and Democrats who were saying the same thing. And then we had a lot of Democrat mayors who were saying the same thing, and they have done it.
Can we actually? I want to ask you about those Democrat mayors, if I can. There are mayors of these big cities who have significantly increased their personal security, but they've defunded the police who are protecting everyday folks, citizens, residents of their cities. I mean, you can see here, here's a list of them, Democratic mayors who have defunded police, but have private security for themselves and their families. Lori Lightfoot of Chicago, Brandon Scott of Baltimore, Todd Gloria of San Diego, London Breed, San Francisco, Bill de Blasio of NYC. De Blasio, arguably the worst mayor in America today, maybe in all of American history. But I just want to know, what do you make of that? I mean, cops for me, but not for thee, it sounds like.
Well, and this should show us that these people are not dumb. They know that their policies are wholly destructive. These people could say all they want about Black Lives Mattering, but in reality, they know that their policies are destructive, and especially destructive to Black lives. There is no sincere concern about Black lives when they know that these policies encourage additional Black lives, and especially Black unprotected lives, toddlers, children being caught in crossfires are the ones that are going to be the ones that are completely unprotected when you have gang members that have beef against each other, going at each other, and we have so many children being caught in the crossfires. This is not a secret. This has been happening for years. Every summer, it's predictable. In Chicago, it's been happening for decades. Every single summer, we have innocent children that are being snuffed out, that are being killed, mercilessly harmed as a result of gang violence. And so these mayors knew it would happen, and they're not dumb. So what did they do? They immediately said, we're going to defund the police, but they immediately went to their personal security detail and they doubled, tripled the amount of their details and said, we're going to go ahead and spend the money here for our personal security detail, but we are going to defund. We're going to take, those dollars off of our city police officers in that way.
One thing, Kevin, that often comes up is the Democrats, the left, will say all conservatives do is complain about crime and say that police are the answer, and they don't give more specifics. Now, I mean, defund police, I would argue and have argued, is the dumbest political slogan perhaps of my lifetime, and that's what the Democrats embraced a year ago. But let's look at the positive, or let's look at solution-minded approaches to this. What could be done, let's say between now and the end of the year, to bring down that violence curve that has been going up in American city after American city for the last 18 months or so?
That's a great question. In my opinion, what we should first do is reprioritize police work, reprioritize law enforcement. Number one, what we need to do is reinvoke our bail system. A lot of these cities also took bail off the table, which means that even if you do a violent crime in these major cities, there's no consequence. And a lot of these criminals know, even if I do a violent crime, I'll be out this afternoon. It's no problem. So I could shoot somebody. There's no bail, so I'll be out. No problem. So even if they're caught, that's what's happening. Number two, we need law enforcement levels to be high enough to where when we do have these violent instances occurring, that there's law enforcement close enough to where we can actually catch these bad guys in the act. A lot of these instances, that 10, 15, 20 minutes will go by and before a law enforcement officer is even near in the area. And that's because the law enforcement levels of law enforcement have gone down so much due to retirement, due to people leaving the force altogether, that there's not enough police officers to actually police the entire city in a lot of these major cities anymore. So therefore, the level of law enforcement has gone down significantly. So we have to improve there. Number three, we have to reprioritize. Like we would have officers on bikes. We would have, like policing within these localized neighborhoods. But majorly important from an administrative perspective, we must, if Biden and Harris are absolutely sincere, which they try to tell us that they must have a policy statement, and it is very, very easy for them to do. And this is one for them to do. If you're sincere about Black lives, Mr. Biden, if you're sincere about Black lives, Ms. Harris, this is what you do to make the statement. You say, look, we know that our borders are open and not secure at the moment. What we're going to do, because we know right now we have human traffickers coming through, we have drug traffickers coming through. What we're going to do to show the American people our sincerity, that these Black lives are being snuffed out, that these children are being caught in the crossfires and their lives are being killed, or are being snuffed out as well. What we're going to do is we're going to secure our borders. We're going to stop the drug smugglers from the drug and human traffickers from bringing the guns over, because we have guns coming over. When they're smuggling humans, when they're smuggling drugs, they're also smuggling guns and vests. They're smuggling also all of these heavy armory. And so what's happening is in the streets, these criminals are getting hold of these illegal firearms. These are not guns that they purchase at gun shows, or
of course.
that they, so that's what's happening. Is a lot of these criminals are purchasing these illegal firearms coming over via the black market, coming over our open borders. What we must do, if we're sincere about doing something about these illegal shootings, is stop the guns coming over the border. So they have to secure the border. If they do nothing about securing the border, they're insincere.
Kevin, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. We'll leave it there. Have you back soon.
All right. Thank you, bud. Pleasure to be here.